Hi, Thomas. I'm assuming you allowed yourself 24 hours to be happy after Saturday. That's your rule, isn't it? So what did you do after that 24 hours?
Then I started to plan the game tomorrow night. Actually, basically planned and started to plan the game. Before that, I watched back our own game. We're ready for the game tomorrow. It's a big game. It's a top 6 game against one of the relegated teams from Premier League, and I think they've shown that they have taken the transition fairly well, I would say, because they're up and among and the one point of the automatic promotion spot. So it's going to be a very tough challenge.
This is an interesting run of games, isn't it? Because Watford, Reading, Bournemouth, Cardiff, who missed out in the playoffs last time, the next set of games, with Newcastle thrown in there as well in the League Cup quarter-final. Will we really get a sense of where things are after this next set of games, do you think, and where Brentford are pushing towards?
I don't know. I know I have one focus, you know that, Phil. That's tomorrow night against Watford. We will use all our energy, all our focus, all our concentration to do the very best to put a top performance out there, because we need that, and do everything we can to get 3 points.
You tweak things around a little bit at the weekend, as you have to at this stage with so many games. Have you got the adaptability? Have you got the squad? Have you got the availability of as many players as you possibly can for tomorrow's game against Watford to make whatever changes you need to, if you have to?
Yes, I think everyone should be available. That's been available the last couple of games. Christian is really getting closer to be part of. He will not be involved tomorrow, but he looked good in training today. So he is. Closer and closer, and we look forward to involve him soon, of course. But of course, as you said, I think it's important to try to balance it right with getting that core right in the team, and then still freshen it up in some positions from game to game. Use the subs well, because I think throughout the season freshness will be a big part of success.
And you mentioned Christian. Of course, he may well have a battle on though with Vitali, who's performed really well to get the shirt back in that sort of position. It's great for you to have competition for places, isn't it? But Vitali has settled in very well.
No, I think it's extremely impressive what Vitali have done, coming in as a young player to a new country and just hit the ground, literally not running but sprinting. He is an incredible personality and player, and he really helped us when we needed the most in a tough schedule, and we needed his type, and I think he's growing. They are the only two. I speak a little bit of German, but not much. Understand a bit, but those are the only two that speak German in the squad. So Christian has been fantastic from the beginning to speak with him, and they play same position. And I know Christian speak to him before each game, so they're just talking about that. I need to find a way to play both of them.
I can imagine. Can I ask you, obviously, about the news that London is being moved when it comes outside of football, but with the coronavirus situation back into a Tier 3 situation, which will mean that fans are no longer going to be allowed to come into games. I mean, obviously, those two games recently have been very precious. We'll hope that this will only be for a brief period of time. Does it have any effect on you and your squad, the change of restrictions?
For me personally, and for the squad, of course, we are sad that we can't have fans for the next home games. We love to have fans with us, so we're very sad about that. Of course, we know it is a world pandemic, and all over the world, countries are closing down. Germany did that yesterday. I know Denmark, personally, of course, also have a lot of restrictions. So it doesn't surprise me that London are going into tier 3, and it is what it is. I must say, it's we've been speaking way too much about Corona for the last 8 and 9 months, but of course we have, because that's reality. That's the new normal. Yeah, I can't wait to we're done with this, but we will carry on, and I need to praise my players and the staff for coming in every day with a smile on their face and do everything they can to push in under difficult circumstances and performing. That's very impressive.
And as you mentioned about Denmark and Germany and players obviously from all over now that have accumulated at Brentford, how important is it for you and as a club and as the setup to have an understanding of any concerns that people may have about family, back in Denmark, for example, your family or some of your players, or Germany or somewhere else?
No, I think all of us have, how can I say, a lot of thoughts are going to our closest one in our home countries, and we are, I can say personally, I'm in regular contact, of course, with my mom and dad and sister and friends in Denmark to hear how they are, and be in contact. Normally, we've been blessed with a lot of visits here in London, and of course, we haven't been able to do that for 9 months now, and of course that affects people. We are privileged. I say that to my players, my staff. We are allowed to go to work. There's so many people that are not allowed to come into work and see. I know we can't touch each other, but we still do. Don't say that to anyone. Sometimes, but you just have a contact, or you speak to other people, and then on top of that, we do something we love. And we have a passion about, so we are very privileged, even that is very strange and difficult circumstances.
And final question in regards to coronavirus is that obviously the restrictions mean that there'll be no supporters for that Newcastle United game, which is such a shame, because I know people were looking forward to that. The first time in the quarterfinals of the League Cup, who knows, at a spot in the semi-finals. So you'll have to do the business on the pitch, Thomas, so that fans can actually think about maybe getting closer to a trip to Wembley this time, where maybe you'll be allowed in.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. I'll not focus on that game before the next two. But I can speak about the fans. We know that game would have been a sellout against Newcastle, 100%. So of course it's a big game for us and the club.
And just finally about Watford for me, as you say, it's a tough task. All three relegated teams have adapted well to relegation. What particular challenges are you expecting from Watford tomorrow night that you're going to have to counteract?
I think they have. They've shown that they are extremely solid. I think they have in terms of conceded goals, the next best record, or we'll call it, but also in terms of the stats we look at, expected goals conceded and touch in opponent's box and all that. I know we are up there. I know we conceded a few more goals, but so it's a team that are defending extremely well and are extremely solid. I think they how can you say, play with an edge or experience where it's very difficult to beat them, and they have that extra how can you say, flair, quality, in terms of, I would say, definitely Troy Deeney, if he came back, it just added that extra bit, like the missing link for them. And of course, I know they have been struggling with injuries lately, but we know when you get relegated and there's a big turnaround with players that maybe want to go, maybe want to stay, all that, let's just make it disruptive. It's difficult, so I think they have done very well to keep the club moving with a relatively good pace, and then they are in and around. So that's very impressive.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Best of luck, though. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi Thomas, how are you? Thomas, in relation to your away form, it's been very good of late, and I suppose you're coming up against one of the teams with the best home performances so far in the division. And how important is it that your away form has stood up to the test so far, given the challenge that lays ahead of you, given Watford's record at home so far this season?
Now, of course, we are pleased with that. I think that we a thing we added to last year is that compared to last year is that I think we look extremely difficult to beat. We're having a good organization, good structure. The boys are working very hard in the pressure, no matter if it's the middle, high or low pressure. And that's a good foundation to have when you go to an away ground. I think the experience in the squad is growing. So there's a lot of the younger players who've got more games under their belt and more. They've been in more situations. How do we handle this situation in difficult situations? So I think that's extremely important. Of course, we know that challenge against Watford is going to be big. We are ready for it.
I suppose.
Yeah.
And I suppose, Thomas, in terms of, you mentioned Troy Deeney, he really is an old-fashioned type centre forward in the proverbial sense, like Harry Kane, in terms of he sort of ruffles up defenders. He loves crosses. He loves getting his head on sort of things, and in terms of breaking down ball for others to make the runs on. So your two central defenders are going to be up against a real test. Troy Deeney is going to work come across the line for the whole entire game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Troy Deeney is a very clever striker, and you know that you need to be so concentrated through 90 minutes because he will always either work off the shoulder or get that body contact or find good positions. Always, you think you have him under control, and suddenly he's there. So we need to be absolutely concentrated. Throughout the game to be able to close them down.
I suppose, Thomas, in these sort of games against Watford, who you're playing this weekend, it's probably an upper end sort of clash in terms of the championship. And does the players realise that in terms of having to lift the intensity, having to eke out an extra 10 or 15% to coming at a short turnaround at the weekend, you probably need to go up a level again, really, to get a result against Watford?
Yeah, no doubt about that. There's a reason why they were in the Premier League, Watford. That's why also they're coming down. And you know, there's two stories about the relegated teams the last years from Premier League. Either they do as Watford, actually Bournemouth and Norwich, and then they will be in top 6 or top 2, or they will go all the way through. And I'm not in doubt that Watford, Bournemouth, and Norwich, they will be in around top 6 and top 2 throughout the season, because they have a quality squad and good coaching staffs and coaches. So for me, Watford of course would be favorites for this game for tomorrow. But we're up for it and we're ready, and we know that we on the day when we hit our top level, I know Watford, they also have to prepare well.
Yeah. And Thomas, do you feel you're settled again after the start of the year? It was a bit of uncertainty in terms of certain players. Would they be at the club? Would they leave? And that's sort of over now. You know the squad you have. Do you feel that you're more settled side now in terms of the championship than where you are maybe a month or two ago in terms of having a routine? Your performances are a lot more consistent as well. Is that because the squad is more balanced and the squad knows who's there now, and they're all getting used to playing with each other? That uncertainty is gone.
Yeah. We definitely are in a good place. So I think there is always something about that. Okay, now we know this is the squad, this is the team, and hopefully the team will get slightly better game by game or over time. So I think you can see that, as you said, in the terms of the performance. I think actually we have had that since after the first international break. I know we lost to Stoke, but we won against Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry before that. So we have had a good run picked up a lot of points consistently performance. So we are definitely settled and we are in a good place, but we want to do it better. We want to perform better. We are never satisfied.
And I suppose finally for me, Thomas, in terms of this game, it is really for the supporters. It is really a big one. It's one that to sort of look forward to in terms of when the fixtures were drawn up at the start of the year, as such a London sort of derby game, as sort of such two sort of teams from London going at each other. And I suppose there won't be any supporters in attendance, but I suppose for the players, they'll really sort of still see it that derby element to the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's a London derby. That's one thing, but I think as important is that it is a big team, big club that we are facing. So for us, it's a massive game, and we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Thomas.
You're welcome.
Hi, Thomas. How you doing?
Hi, Nick. All good, you?
Yeah, not bad at all. I wanted to ask a couple of questions about Rico Henry, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Obviously he is excellent last season, probably one of the best, if not the best, left back in the Championship. But certainly from what I've seen of him this season, he seems to have sort of stepped up a little bit. Is there anything in particular that he has done, or that you have noticed that he's kind of changed or improved this season?
I think Rico, I agree with you. I think for me, other must judge that. Of course, you always love your own children, okay? So he's one of my 25 sons in my squad. So of course that I absolutely love him. I think he's a top left back. If he's the best in division, other must judge that. But he's definitely up there among the best. I think he's extremely good defensively. 1v1 defensively, almost no one are going past him. Very, very few times. He's so aggressive. And maybe you think you've gone past him. Then he's there again. And he's been much more aware in terms of defending crosses and tricky situations on the side. And he's always been going forward. But now he's also getting more end product on it. So I think he has improved, but he still needs to do better. Is crosses. We need more quality crosses from him and more assists. I think actually he had a top pass for Tariq Fosu for a big chance against Nottingham Forest in the weekend. That's some of the passes I love to see more of, where he got that composure. And then a bit more in the build-up. Also would love to see a tiny bit more composure sometimes under pressure. But that's also what you need to go to the highest level.
Are those things that you and the other coaching staff have worked with him on, or are these things that he kind of improved kind of from his own off his own bat?
No, I think cross has been a big thing for us that we've been worked on with him and me and the coaching staff throughout since end of last year. So that's an area that we like to improve. The composure is something we're talking about in video, and and then consistently try to reinforce him to get good positions, and maybe have that extra half a second, and things will line will open up, and he can play through lines and stuff.
And off the pitch as well. I mean, you kind of, because he's been at the club for a relatively long period of time, you sort of forget how young he still is. Mm-hmm. He seems, from the outside at least, to be quite a mature player for someone so young. Is that kind of what he's like off the pitch and around the dressing room as well?
I would say he's very well liked among his teammates. They really care about him because he is always a player and a person that gives 100% to the team, and he's also driving the trainings because Rico only have either 0 or 100%. He can't go in between. So he's driving a lot of things, and off the pitch he's he always create a good laugh and a good environment. So no, he's good.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hiya, Thomas.
Yeah.
Hiya. I'm just given last season how you went on that amazing run to get to where you were and just missed out from making the top 2. this upcoming run of games, is it perhaps more important to kind of, get some victories on the board so it doesn't leave that margin of error towards the end of the season, that you're in a kind of stronger spot to get to the top two rather than, making the late run to push for it?
Oh, good question. I think I will start. I definitely think one thing. We I saw some stats. I think after 18 games last year, we were in, I can't remember how many points or whatever. But what I noticed was that we were 12 points after West Brom and 10 points after Leeds. And I noticed that both teams, we had a chance to go past them during the year. I think West Brom, we all know that in the end of the season. Leeds, we had a game at Griffin Park where actually if we beat them, we would have gone past them. That just show, not for me or for us, that this league are absolutely mental. So you need to do everything what you can to stay focused and concentrated and take it one game at a time. Because if you do that and you do everything what we believe in, top attitude, hard work, togetherness, and put performances in every single day, then there will be a time during the season. So this is what we need to do, is 100% commitment and focus and energy for the game tomorrow. And then after that, the game against Reading. And then after that, the game against Newcastle. Then there will be times during the season where we'll have a chance to get into the right positions.
Okay, and have you kind of learned anything from last season that, for this season? Because obviously you've been knocking on the door for kind of 3-4 years, but last year was the closest you've been to, going up.
I think it always, things change every year. Things change a bit. The squad changes a bit. You need to work on adjusting your style of play to the types you have, and so I think we're just building on the foundation every single day, and try to. And this season is also different compared to last season and compared to any other season, because the amount of games are so so compact, the program. So there's other adjustments we need to be aware of and consider going forward. So for me, this moment in time, this state part of the season, there's nothing else I want to do different compared to the last 3 or 4 seasons. But let's speak about that. We're getting closer to the end of the season. I think that's where it maybe kick in some of the things we learned.
Okay, and just one more from me. Fours missed out on Saturday due to illness. Is he okay now?
Yeah, he's available for tomorrow.
Okay, great stuff. Thanks, Thomas.
Welcome.
Hi, Thomas. My first question, really, we haven't beaten Watford since 1977. Does that play in your minds whatsoever?
No, I didn't know that. But now I will make sure that we win tomorrow. We'll do our best. We know it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Just to follow up on that, Watford, like you mentioned earlier, that Watford have been the second best team defensively this season. They've only conceded 3 in their last 7. What's the key to breaking them down tomorrow night?
I think that there's no doubt that we need to be showing top quality on the ball and the decisive moment. I know that's a very, how can you say, standard phrase to use. So of course the tactical bits where we'll try to hit them, maybe I'll not say that here, as of course we'll try to find some areas where we think we'll try to explore and be able to create our chances. But I think on the final third, we need that edge in terms of the right touch, the right cross, the right combination, play with the right intensity, find the right positions in terms of what we want to do. I think that's going to be crucial. But can we do that? Then we've shown that we've been able to score goals throughout the seasons. So I believe we will do that, be able to do that tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
We think it's going to be a tough challenge.
You alluded to it earlier as well. Like through 18 games last season, I looked through it myself. You lost 7 games by this stage last season. You've only lost 3 this year. So, what do you think has been the key to that? Like, obviously, like you're unbeaten 11. I know you said like that you're very organised. You mentioned Vitaly Janelt there as well, and Norgard hopefully to come back into the team soon. But what do you think has been crucial to losing less games this season?
I think a bit. I think last year, we lost 9 games 1-0, and I think the way I remember it, maybe I have a bad memory, but the way I remember it, it was only the away game to Leeds that we deserved to lose. The rest, most of them, and I'm close to say 75% of them, we should have won, or at least get a draw. So I think we've been a little bit how can I say, hit by the small margins last year, not to have more draws. But of course, we try to work on in terms of be even more solid, be even more aware of the rest defending, so we don't get stupid counters against us. The team just have a big desire to keep going. So I think that's a part of it. I would say.
Yeah, and finally, these 6 games now over the next 20 days, obviously it's a very busy Christmas period. How important is the squad really over the next 20 days or so? Like, obviously you've been rotating a small bit over the last few weeks, like, but do you expect to be doing that a lot over Christmas as well?
Yeah, I think when it's funny, people are saying to me, then you're going into the busy Christmas schedule. You mean the busy schedule we've had since September. So it's not going to change for Christmas. We've had exactly the same schedule the last 3 months. So now I think I'll continue to do the rotation I've done so far, a couple, 2 to 3 players per game or something like that. I haven't had a fixed number, but that will be rotation 100%.
Thanks, Thomas, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.